had dissolved before my eyes. The totality of the plates proved, beyond any doubt, that a supposedly indecent episode of outrageous exposure had instead been a decade of women's creative independence. The true story began during the worst violence of the French Revolution, in a Paris prison cell. It was irresistible for the jailers to strip Terezia Cabarrus naked. Along with all of France, they had heard the rumors of her beauty. They gloated over the curves universally described as those of a goddess. Then the jailers hacked off her jet-black hair, tossed her a rough chemise undergarment, and locked her in a stinking cell. Straw rotted in a mixture of urine and feces on the floor. Moisture seeped through cracks in the stone walls. She remained there in the dark for 25 days. When Terezia arrived at the prison, she had been wearing an edifice of conical boned stays, layered petticoats, and three-piece silken gown, whose skirt fabric alone cost years of a working woman's wages. Her apparel was a spectacle of power. Its materials and scale announced social superiority. It demanded deference. Now she was reduced to almost nothing. A plain, straight sheath, which she cinched with a plaid cotton kerchief. Terezia had wholeheartedly supported the start of the revolution, whose twisted course had landed her in a dungeon. At first, the French Revolution of 1789 intended to topple monarchy and correct the worst abuses of a decadent aristocracy. A newly elected government proclaimed the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, to this day the fundamental principle of political equality. By 1793, however, the revolution had devolved into the Reign of Terror, ruled by an implacable committee of public safety, presided over by Maximilien Robespierre. Like thousands of others, Terezia was arbitrarily arrested and condemned. Her principal offense was against the prudish sexual morals of Robespierre himself. He believed she had undermined his authority in the city of Bordeaux by using her wiles to seduce his appointed envoy, Jean-Lambert Tallien. No man could resist her, Robespierre was told. On the 31st of May, 1794, the Committee of Public Safety was busy passing judgments, but not so busy that its members didn't enjoy obliging Terezia to sit in front of them all day, with nothing to eat or drink, while they laughed and were served their lunch. In the end, her trial didn't take long. Besides being guilty of sexual seduction, she was guilty of being noble. Never mind that she was born a commoner, the daughter of a middle-class Spanish banker. Never mind that her family traded her in marriage at the age of 14 for a breach into the aristocracy, or that the Vicomte de Fontenay were a fake old aristocratic family, or that her marginally noble husband abused her, so much so that she took advantage of a radical revolutionary law to divorce him. The Committee of Public Safety deemed her a counter-revolutionary. Robespierre personally demanded her solitary confinement. Soldiers shoved her into a carriage, which lurched over the cobblestones of Paris all evening long, searching for an available cell. They passed the Place de la Révolution on their way, previously the Place Royale, today the Place de la Concorde. The soldiers thrust her head through the carriage window toward the looming hulk of the guillotine. "You will be next," they roared. Actually, Robespierre was next. On July 27, 1794, he and the Committee of Public Safety were overthrown in a coup d'etat called Thermidor, led by Terezia's Bordeaux lover, Jean-Lambert Tallien. Robespierre was guillotined the next day, in the continued belief that Terezia could cause a man to do anything, even while she was locked away in prison. She was credited with having instigated Thermidor and freed France from the Terror. She emerged from prison the darling of Europe. Terezia also emerged from prison with no husband, no title, no formal education, no skills, and no money. Her entire fortune had been confiscated.